Welcome back to Stream It, episode 9 of Lovecraft Country. We have one more to go. And then we're going to watch 2 trailers, one for HBO and one for Disney+. And then we're going to talk about those Instagram poll results that we put out last week. But first, as usual, we have a question. This one comes from Tom. It's, regardless of medium, so TV show, film, limited series, who is an actor that you will always watch the newest project of no matter what?
Wow, I didn't even read this yet.
This kind of just came to me this morning. I was thinking someone who kind of falls into the category of Stream It, someone who's done something on Netflix or Apple TV or HBO or something like that, but we'll sprinkle in a movie or whatever. And for me, like, I thought of Steve Carell.
That's a good one.
Like,
That is a good one.
Space Force. I actually haven't even gotten a trial for Apple TV yet, so I haven't seen Morning Show, but I hear he's really good in it. And then he has some movies every now and then. When he kind of switched to doing dramatic stuff, it was like, wow, he's just like awesome. So anything with him.
Okay, well, she's not fully for Stream It, but she's done something for Netflix, Emma Stone.
Oh,
I
good
feel
one.
like I just trust her.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been let down by a movie that she's in, because she can also do comedy.
And she did Maniac,
drama.
right?
Yeah.
That was
And I watched it I like Jonah Hill too, but I mainly watched it for her, and she was so good in it.
I'm just gonna go with what came to mind first, but James Franco.
Interesting.
I was gonna say The Rock.
I assumed he was going to say The Rock.
Well, so I went through The Rock, James Franco, actually Millie Bobby Brown, really good. I might watch Will Smith stuff too.
Yeah.
Which is random.
But Will Smith, to me, it kind of falls.
And Margot Robbie. Those were like the ones that popped up.
Yeah, Will Smith hasn't done his like dramatic streaming service
Yeah.
limited series or series.
Well, that was after when we said, that was before you said the yeah,
I see.
streaming thing.
Yeah.
But some of those other ones would fit on the streaming.
Yeah. Someone else I thought of as I was like going through it. Wow, I kind of see everything Pedro Pascal's in. Like,
I feel like all those people that we named would, like, if they were in something on Netflix or like any streaming thing, I'd be like, yeah, I want to check that out.
You know who's really dominating this right now? Actually, is Reese Witherspoon.
Yes.
Can you think of like a major star that has any like streaming series on Amazon? Amazon's so huge, but they don't have like a.
I guess John Krasinski is the.
Oh yeah,
biggest
John
one,
Krasinski.
maybe?
Yeah. Because there's shows that are like acclaimed, like you like upload.
I watched it.
That didn't have any big name people. It's surprising that they can't lure someone and be like the star of an Amazon show.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because Apple Plus did that like right away.
Right.
they have everybody.
Yeah.
Amazon has that show, The Hunters, with Al Pacino.
Is he in it? I didn't know if it was like a couple I haven't seen it. I didn't know if he was like.
Yeah, he's in it, but I
think
haven't
he's
seen
like
it.
his face is on like the.
Oh, okay. So maybe that's it. Yeah. All right.
There's
Like
room for more in
Yeah.
Amazon Prime.
Not really reaching the younger demographic. I guess.
Exactly, yeah.
Al Pacino, and I have to say Adam Sandler too.
I thought you
I
were
thought
going.
that was a
I
pretty
thought you were
obvious
going to say The Rock and you were going to say Adam Sandler, but I guess
I wrote him down first.
the streaming
But
thing.
Emma
Yeah.
The streaming thing kind of changed it with The Rock.
Hulu did a James Franco thing.
Yes.
So that fits.
Oh,
Like
I
63?
started that.
11,
good.
23, 63 or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
That was good. I don't know, he's done some serious stuff where he's like been really good, and then also obviously the comedies. So.
Yeah. He has a like a documentary on that he filmed and did the whole thing on of like what it's like a week behind the scenes for a week at SNL.
I saw that.
That's on Hulu.
Oh, that's cool, yeah.
So should we move on to Lovecraft?
Yeah.
So it starts with Diana was infected by the demons, Topsy and Bopsy, which is what you called, I think, Cam. And they see it spreading underneath her skin, spreading across her body, and even causing her to slowly resemble them. At a loss for how to help her, they decide they need Christina's help, which she gives at the request of Ruby. They can slow the spread, exorcism style, with the blood of her closest relative, which is how Atticus learns that he is most likely the son of George. In order to fully save Diana, they need the Book of Pages. Hippolyta returns from her time-traveling journey, fixes the time machine, and helps send Atticus, Letty, and Montrose back to the riots in Tulsa in 1921, where they hope to find the full book of pages hidden with Atticus's mother. Going back to the Tulsa massacre, the three of them have to deal with the horrific events that they cannot change. Montrose has to relive his best friend / crush being murdered. Letty has to just stand by while Atticus's relatives burn in their own home, and Atticus gets a better insight into why his father is the way that he is. Atticus also discovers that he played a role in saving Uncle George, his mother, and Montrose. Letty retrieves the book of pages, and the three of them make it back to the present. Meanwhile, Christina basically confirms to Ruby that she plans to kill Atticus, but Ruby makes her promise that she will not harm Letty.
Yeah, this one was powerful. Really hit you in the feels.
I cried.
Yeah, right?
Did anyone else get some serious Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban vibes? Did you say you haven't seen them?
I saw that one.
With the time turner, there's like 2 scenes where they're like, at one point Harry's like, wait, no, hold on, something hits me in the back of the head right now. But in reality, they do like the same thing. It's like he's watching himself and he throws a rock and it was him the whole time. And then later on in, spoiler alert, at the end of the movie, he's like, wait, my dad comes and saves us. But it turns out he was watching himself time traveling save him. That's what it made me think when he was like,
I got you, kid.
I got you, kid. He steps on the bat and he's like, that was you. So Montrose is like, it's full circle. You came and saved us. That's why we lived.
So I loved how they did that with the time travel, because time travel I feel like is tricky with the changing things, and one thing leads to another. They even had a conversation about it to like say that they didn't want to change anything, and we might not be here. I might not be alive if this doesn't happen. All that stuff. But the fact that they were supposed to be there and they had already been there in the past. Because of the like, I got you, kid, and Tick kind of puts it all together in that moment, and you're like, oh, like they were supposed to travel back, supposed to see this, and like in the past, Tick saved them, and in the past, Letty watched the family die. Like, that's such a crazy, like, to know now that Atticus's great grandmother like died with someone was with her. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's just like crazy how they did it and made it seem like it was just, this is how it went down, and you're not actually changing the past. It already happened this way. Like, just cool. They did a really good job with that, I thought.
So that's why Letty has the dream of her burning in the house.
Yeah, right.
Foreshadow. And then the I got you, kid ties back to the dream in the first episode also.
Right.
So that's how Atticus knew, I think.
When Jackie Robinson was in his dream, right?
Yeah, and he says it to him.
I got you, kid.
And Montrose is like, yeah, the stranger showed up swinging around like Jackie Robinson. So
yeah, that was cool.
Atticus is definitely really smart for like knowing like, oh, I had a dream 3 weeks ago about that. That must be me.
Yeah, nice, like really cool foreshadowing there, like that you just said.
Well, that's what we were kind of saying. Was it like 2 weeks ago or last week where we were like, I want to go back and watch that first scene, like when the series is over, and be like, oh, it ties to this, that ties to this. It's like the whole thing was there.
It was good that I feel like Atticus and Montrose kind of were a little bit more on the same page after all this, which was good. But also just like the riots were like, I can't believe that was a real thing, and how like horrible, and then how like not mentioned it is. Like, again, they're obviously trying to bring Black history to like the forefront, and like this was just like awful. And the way they set it up with like when they got there, and Montrose having already been through it, but like when he looked out the window and saw the whole city like normal, and then his like narration at the end when he was back looking out at the city, and he was like, the leading Black surgeon
Dr.
in the
Andrew
world.
Jackson.
Yeah.
I only know that because between this, talking about it a bunch, and then Watchmen, I was like, I'm going to read a book about the Tulsa Massacre, and I did. And I finished it like the day before I watched this episode, and I was like, whoa, what weird timing. But like...
That man's real.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Dr. Andrew Jackson was a black surgeon and doctor who took care of just like anyone in Tulsa. Lived in the black neighborhood that got burned and everything and took care of them, but like the white doctors would like call him and refer to him and stuff like that. And then a huge thing they talked about in the book I read was all the kids at Booker T. Washington School being so upset that their prom was canceled. They were like, things are happening in the city because a black kid was accused by a young white woman for sexual harassment or sexual abuse in an elevator. So a mob wanted to hang the black guy, but the cops in Tulsa were like, we're not doing that, we're not letting you. And then black people came across the railroad tracks from this part of town to like protect them, and then 2 people got in like a altercation and a shot went off.
Oh boy.
They don't know if the white fired it or if the black guy fired it, and that just, it blew up. And the next morning at 5 a.m., basically like an army, the white people marched across the railroad tracks and like killed and burned the entire section of Tulsa that the black people lived in.
Jeez.
So all those things at the end that he was like narrating, it was like, oh yeah, I just read that was in the book. And it's all stuff that's like
Real, yeah.
in like,
He was like the surgeon best in like the world.
Yeah.
And like got shot in the face or something.
Yep.
And it's just
And
like, wow.
There was a part in the book they talked about him specifically that it was like white teenagers running around just like causing havoc, and white adults said, don't shoot him because he was like such a respected person. And then one of the kids just did. And the white guy just like walked over and said, oh, these kids, they're out of hand.
Jeez.
It's like,
Oh my God.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just like an awful piece of history that, like, it's great that they did like included this and brought it to light
Right.
and made it work with the time travel, and like, you know, they kind of like worked that in because it wasn't in the like time setting that, you know, the 50s or whatever, it was before.
Mm-hmm.
So they did a good job like working it in and bringing another piece of like the past forward. Just really impressive.
And the whole scene with Atticus's family in the house, just like it was awful. Because Letty, Atticus, I feel like got off easy this episode. He didn't really have to deal with any like trauma. He just like told everyone else to kind of like.
Yeah,
You did lay down some people though with that bat.
That's true, but like,
that's getting all your anger out.
yeah, but like Letty was in the house, and like the sister's talking to her and is like, oh, I feel really bad. Me and I can't remember his mom's name, but she was like, me and her had a fight. Like, I want to apologize. Like, you think she'll forgive me? And like Letty just has to be like, yeah, like it's gonna be all right. But like she knows everything that's about to
Everyone's
happen.
gonna die. Yeah.
And then the grandmother had to choose to like not go down and like potentially get the family out just because she was like, well, this isn't supposed to happen.
Right.
Like, oh God.
I know. And then, like the poem they were reading during the fire, and like, just so good.
Mm. And just the like recreation of the city was so cool.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
all the, it seemed like they like, I'm sure most of it was CGI, but like there were times when it was like a tracking shot along the houses and it looked like it was a stage that they actually built these houses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like when Montrose was being whipped by his father. It looked like that was 2 houses that they built.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So cool.
And the downtown shot,
Mm.
that was probably like edited a little bit, but it looked so real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And-
just like the craziest story that like you're saying that it happened, and then you don't, it was like not talked about ever until in our lives.
I didn't know about it till we watched Watchmen.
Yeah.
And then we looked it up, and then like, now here it is again.
Yeah.
And that's like a huge like thing. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy that it's not part of like every other history book, you know. I like too when the grandmother and Letty like had to when it, in a show like this or any show with time travel, when you actually have to be like honest, there's always that worry, like, are they gonna believe you? Like, because I don't know if you ever like, I guess that's like a question. Like, would if someone came back from the future, said they were from the future, would you believe them?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. But the grandmother was like, no, like, had the gun up, to her, and then ultimately, I don't know, knew for some reason. Maybe because she had the book of magic, she assumed that it maybe was possible. But I don't know. She said she never opened the book, so I don't know how much she actually knew. But for whatever reason, that whole scene, you were just like curious how it was going to play out because that was what they were there for the whole time.
I like that the reason that she was initially suspicious is because of her shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have no idea where this is going to go. I feel like other than like Atticus, them finding a way for Atticus to live,
Right.
I have like no idea. Like,
Well, Artem is probably like going back to Artem and
Yeah.
doing the whole, what'd you call it? And the ceremony that they have to do in Artem.
Oh, that Christina's gonna do?
Yeah.
The autumnal equinox thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. That.
yeah.
So I think it's gonna have something to do with that.
But also like those monsters came back at the end of the last episode, and
Yeah. See what happens with that.
yeah.
So he's got a protection thing. Maybe the monsters are gonna, but Christina can control the monsters. It's like what trumps what.
I don't think it's looking good for Christina.
I have a very crazy theory.
Bring it.
And it really only involves like what could happen with Christina. So she like told Ruby basically everything.
Yep.
And was like honest with her. And Ruby, it was like the scene happened when she was with like William's body and that white woman's body. So I feel like just from like, everything's purposeful and like cinema and stuff. Gia came back recently. What if Ruby, is just like pretending now to be with Christina because she's like sketched out that she's going to kill Atticus, gives Gia the potion that she's been taking to turn into someone different. Perhaps that same white woman. So Gia looks like that person, goes with Christina, does her final soul on Christina.
Dang.
Because they're building up that she had one more soul. Ruby's involved.
Right.
Tie together a lot of things.
But my question is,
That's a creative thought. Yeah. That's all in play.
I know they mention souls, but they always mention bring men back.
But she could be
When Christina's
William.
Oh, I see.
they've also over and over established the clear attraction between William and that other
Right.
woman when it's Ruby and Christina. So if she thinks that it's Ruby,
Okay.
and they only get together when they're in those bodies.
True.
So
Interesting.
Well, that would be something.
Yeah, because Gia just seemed to be like that was too brief.
yeah,
Yeah, they
So I
spend
think
a
it
whole
would-
episode on her and then just like have
2
her come
episodes
back.
later, she's there for 5 minutes.
And they're like, nah.
like it would answer a lot of random little things, and it's like, oh, why did they do that?
Yeah.
I think that
Or something with her.
I'm excited that we're at the 10th episode, though. Like,
Right. Yeah, me too. I have one other question. So with Diana, what they were able to do was bring it back to the beginning of the spell.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
yes,
So like she had more time, but they're gonna like be chasing her again. Right?
I think it was just gonna start like spreading up her arm again.
Oh.
Like she's still gonna be in a coma, I think, until she dies, unless they can now do the spell that I think will stop it.
Okay. I didn't know if they were gonna like appear and be chasing her again. You know what I mean? Like another.
they showed she like when they were doing the spell and she was looking like them. I was like, God, those are such creepy. That's such a creepy look.
I know. The only thing is the Artem. Like, there's no burning like questions right now, other than is Diana gonna be saved, and like what's gonna happen with Tick. You know what I mean? Which is like an interesting place to be, where there's like so much that's happened and there still could go a lot of different ways, but there's nothing like immediate that like is coming to a head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Other than, again, Christina wanting to kill Tick, which is like pretty much a big thing.
But that's been the thing for like
Yeah.
the whole second half of the show.
Right.
Is this going to be just 10 episodes and done, kind of like Watchmen, or are they going to have a season 2? I can't figure out the path they're going on. Because, like, basically, did they take the novel Lovecraft Country and just put it all into these 10 episodes, or did they do?
Was it like a specific novel or something?
Right. Is it
Like
just
one
like
story.
here's a story within it, and then we're going to stretch that out?
Yeah. And if it is just a single like novel that they're basing this off of, they could do the other Lovecraft stories.
Right.
When you look it up, it says like season 1, episode 9.
Yeah.
Like it's not just like episode 9.
Right. And I think if you look up Watchmen, it says like chapter 1. And it doesn't say, or like episode 1. It doesn't say S1E1 or whatever.
The world's changing. We've all sensed it. The prophecy is clear. Our duty is to protect the girl and the boy, wherever they are.
Something happened in this world. There's something important that connects us to this place.
People are going to be looking for us. We need to be careful.
Witches have been conspiring against the Magisterium. We must take control of this new world. Find the child.
She's in another world entirely.
You're a long way from home, Mr. Scoresby.
I've heard about your powers. And I'm looking for a girl named Lyra.
You will need a knife. One that could slice between worlds.
Then we better get going.
Leave the winds to me.
The child will bring the end of the Great War. It is time to unite and destroy the Magisterium.
Stop this threat. Sacrifice. Whatever is necessary.
I found her. She's in another world. Plagued by specters.
We're not safe here. I think I'm changing. We both are.
You are so like I was.
It's time to fight.
Run. The greatest war there ever was is coming.
So to put this in basketball terms, I guess we can clear out and let you go to work.
I don't know.
I didn't watch the first season.
Oh, really?
Either.
You loved it.
I did like it a lot. It's definitely that like sci-fi fantasy world whole
Which
thing.
is the Seslick household.
We love it.
Eat it up.
Fill it up. Just keep it going. Yeah, I think we went over this once on the show. But one cool thing with this is they have like spirit animals, or I forget what they're called in this, but like the monkey that you saw is like the Lyra's mother's like, what do they call it?
Alebrije?
Basically, yeah. So it's just cool that there's like, this is the animal that represents me, and like, I don't know. So the first season they were like trying to separate kids from their animal to do something, I forget. But basically there's like this, the Magisterium is like the government, or like the empire power, whatever. And they're trying to destroy that because it's like religious and corrupt and all like a mess. And there's something with the girl and that kid, the other boy. They have like, I don't know, what's the word, when a prophet that they're like gonna take down the Magisterium. So everyone's trying to keep them safe to lead them to saving the day. Something like that. But the whole fantasy piece, and yeah, it's just
Did
really
that
cool.
show like new characters that you hadn't seen? And
A couple of them, yeah.
yeah.
A lot of them the same, but
And it's based off of the Golden Compass books, right?
right.
So I wonder, like we were just saying with this, if like season 2 is like the second book.
Maybe.
Or would like, because I
I
think
didn't
there's
read the
3.
books, so I don't know.
I feel like the Golden Compass is on every 5th through 8th grade summer reading list. It's like, you can read the Golden Compass. I feel like that's when you would read it, otherwise,
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe they're straying a little bit from the story, though, because I just remember that the movie did not do well. And
Yeah.
I think that was more true to the book.
Yeah, when this came out, I remember people saying, I hope it's better than the movie.
Yeah.
Stan always said that the Marvel Universe is the world outside your window. And that the people could find characters they could see themselves in.
Bringing a piece of art to life, it's difficult to not put yourself into the work.
We were artistic rebels.
I can't even imagine the impact that had.
Better take off your shoes because I'm gonna knock your socks off.
We would love that, yeah.
People really believe women weren't reading comics that inspired us to do more.
Cosplay is the visible expression of one's fandom.
Nobody else had ever done this before.
Fearless storytellers.
I killed Spider-Man.
What? That's insane.
The Marvel Spotlight Program is a collection of stage plays written for high school.
I never thought I could make a living drawing.
Yo creo que siempre quise ser dibujante de cómics, pero siempre pensé que iba a ser imposible.
The Japanese Spider-Man is totally different from the original Spider-Man. We're living in the golden age of toys.
Superheroes connect us. It's one big epic story.
Was that like a little docu-series?
Yeah, I think that's what it said when I was just looking stuff up.
So it looked like it was one about cosplay, one about the theater ones for the...
Yeah, it seemed like the like stereotype that it's just like nerdy guys that read comics, and that women were like, no, we love this too.
Oh yeah, maybe one about, sounded like one about like women in comics.
Yeah, and the new Marvel video game that just came out has, what's her name? I feel like her name is, I feel like it's Kamala or something Khan.
It is, I think you're right.
But she's a superhero that like links up with the Avengers.
Oh,
and
cool.
she's like a teenage girl. And that was one of the pictures they showed.
Oh, cool.
So I wonder if they kind of give the origins of that.
Yeah.
Kamala Khan.
Yeah. I didn't want to say it's Kamala because I was like, that's just in my mind right now.
Yeah. I think one on like the toys too, or like the
Yeah.
figures and stuff.
It's just interesting, and it's funny to think like we know the MCU, but it was a world before Iron Man came out in 2008.
Right.
It was like so huge. Very first Captain America comic has Captain America punching Hitler.
Oh my god.
It's pretty cool that like a form of entertainment like comic books just like came out, and I don't know, it's such a like gave light to all the superhero stuff.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
I remember
It's so big now.
one of my brothers mentioning like early on, he was the first one to tell me like, no, if you wait at the end of the credits, they have like something that links to the next movie. And I was like, oh, cool. And then he was like, did you see that at the beginning of the Incredible Hulk movie, you can see Captain America's shield in the ice? And I was like, no. And he was the one that said, oh yeah, this whole thing called the Infinity Saga. So it's all like, all the comics have
Gonna
been
link
written
together. Yeah.
But it's just like so cool that it came from that. And I wonder how people who like loved the comics, how they really thought about the movies.
I want to see the one about the guy who killed off Spider-Man.
I wonder how many superheroes have died in comics.
So like I think it basically is like they kind of So like there's the Adventures of Spider-Man, then there's like the Amazing Spider-Man. I think they were just like, who says we have to follow this like certain storyline? Let's just go out and create 20.
It's like, here's a character and like, go crazy.
Let's 20 volumes of this version of Spider-Man, and it's Gwen in this one, not Mary Jane, and stuff like that. So I think they were just like, we don't have to just like follow the same story throughout.
It's cool too. Like I wonder if it was like whatever became popular. Like someone wrote about Venom as I don't know. That's I'm saying. Maybe somebody created Venom and it was like, oh, that's the perfect like adversary. And then like other people started doing the Venom thing, and now it's like Venom's one, like the Green Lantern or what's his
Green Goblin.
The Green Lantern.
You're close.
DC, right?
Yeah.
But like it's almost like a progression of how these evolved rather than just being like, here's the story and here's where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if also like like that guy said, I killed Spider-Man, and then at the same time someone else was just like 3 cubicles down writing another Spider-Man story. Like it's interesting if at the same time Marvel was like, no, let's just do what you want with Spider-Man.
Yeah, see where it goes.
So that comes out November 20th. And another Marvel update is WandaVision actually comes out January 15th. So they've been lying. They've been saying December all year. Saw this coming, I feel like, but January 15th. And
this way it will kind of roll like Mandalorian ends, but hey, don't cancel because WandaVision's starting. Because I remember hearing that people were doing month-to-month subscriptions last year and then canceled after The Mandalorian was done.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which I'm sure they just bought it again when Rise of Skywalker went on it. They were probably just like, okay, I'll start up.
All right, and then we also put out an Instagram poll last week when we did our bracket of streaming service shows, and we tied. Someone voted for each of us.
One person or 3 separate people?
One person voted. One person said, I agree with Cam and Sarah, both of them, and then someone said Tom.
Wow.
So also,
sounds like you lost.
So you guys got a half vote, while Dave carries me to victory.
All right, I'll accept that. I'll accept that.
At least it's not a tie, then I can take that. So we'll have to think of more stuff to throw out there.
Yeah, we'll do that again.
All right.
All right, so finale of Lovecraft Country for next week, and then we will see what else we're going to watch.
All right.
We'll see you then.